Coming in, yeah, flex. I just wanna win, yeah. LABB, who we running with? Yeah.
Welcome back to Ironclad TV, where metal is gold and skills are built. Now, I know we've been away from the channel for a minute, but you know, hey, I've been pretty busy. I'm a pretty busy person. But without further ado, we have a few components that we actually want to install on this thing. So I'll go through a couple of the things that I got, and then we'll actually install it, and then I'll tell you how it goes. I'll give you my impression on the components overall, and then after installation I'll let you know whether or not, you know, it's a go. If I think you guys should purchase these, or if you guys should go a different route. So the first one is pretty obvious. I have our timing chain set. The one that I chose to go with was the SA Gear. It's billet. It is a double roller. I was just gonna upgrade to the LS2 chain and run the stock sprockets, but I felt like this would be a better option. Hopefully I wasn't wrong. Another thing that we got is just a regular Melling M295 oil pump. Now this is just the regular flow, regular volume, the regular pressure. But what I did do is I put a few shims inside where this little bypass spring is, and that's supposed to increase the pressure, so I don't actually have to buy a high pressure one. You put about 4 shims in there, or 4 washers, to kind of make it somewhat flush with the deck. From what I've read, it gives you somewhere around 50 to 60 psi. So that's the route that I went with as well. I was really considering the 10-295 or the 10-296, but those are upwards of $100. This one was only $50 or so. Just kind of looking over things, making sure everything is the way that it's supposed to. So the first order of business would be to actually get this thing on here, and I need to make sure that I'm lined up with the 0 mark. So this part here seems pretty loose. I don't know if it's supposed to be like this, but I'm gonna go ahead and send it. So what I need to do is go ahead and rotate the crank so that I could get it to top dead center. Alright, it was a little bit of a struggle trying to get this thing on, but hopefully we got it. I'm going to try to get it snug and see if it's all good. There seems to be a gap in between. Got sprocket and the camshaft itself. I'm not really liking that. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to. But I'll rotate it a little bit, see if it gives me any type of problems. Doesn't look like it is. Alright, it seems like it's on there, so what I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna go ahead and torque this thing down to 18 foot-pounds because that's what it's supposed to be at. And then we'll get to the oil pump. Give it a few more spins just to make sure that I didn't screw anything up in that process. Alright, everything seems good. I don't have any binding or anything. Nothing feels grimy at all. So I'm happy with that. So the way that you're supposed to do this is take this front cover off and put some shims in there just to make sure that the gaps are all good. I don't know if that's actually something that I want to do, just because one, I don't have shims. Two, I feel like that would kind of be a waste of time. So these little tabs that I just put in there, they seem like those are spacers, just because it's a double roller, it sticks out or protrudes from the block just a little bit. Hopefully, I did get, like I said, that new timing cover, and hopefully I don't have to actually clearance that. I'm hoping that it clears, but you know, it's not a perfect world. Pretty sure I will have to clearance it, just because I know that it wasn't intended for that. I've seen some reviews that say that you don't have to, or some people didn't have to. You know, with these things, some people get luckier than others. Mosquitoes. Man, this is crazy. Like, the chain is not rubbing on the pump itself, but is pretty damn close. I mean, they provided the shims or the little spacers so that it won't rub, but it is super close. I'm just gonna leave it just because I'm pretty sure that they have their own clearances and their tolerances that they pretty much built up. And I'll just start on the bottom end. The oil pan and the windage tray. So one thing that I actually like about this, the oil pan and the pickup tube, is that it utilizes both bolt holes so that I'm not having oil pressure issues, or the pickup tube is not actually sucking in oil, it's sucking in air. That's not something that I want, so it did a pretty good job. So alright, so there are two different types of O-rings for our different types of pickup tubes. The little paper that came from mailing here shows that the end part for the pickup tube determines which O-ring you use. There's a black O-ring and then there's a green O-ring. So apparently there's three different types of pickup tube ends. One's gonna be a step type, so we have a small circle and then it goes up to a large circle. This little end piece here, that one's gonna use your green O-ring. If it's just completely straight, like a pipe or something along those lines, then we would use the black O-ring. And if it's tapered, meaning it goes from a smaller circle and gradually goes up to a larger circle, then we would use the green O-ring as well. So pretty much if there's any difference in size, then we would use the green O-ring. If it's just a straight pipe, then we would use the black O-ring. So the one that my oil pan came with has just a straight edge, a straight end. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the black O-ring. So I put a little bit of oil on my O-ring too, just to make sure that it doesn't break. Because usually in a lot of cases, these aftermarket oil pans don't really work out with the windage tray, but man, I am solid. Dude, that is amazing. So I can cinch all this stuff down, but before we actually put our oil pan on there completely and make sure that it fits properly, I need to go ahead and make a hole for my turbo drain. So I'm gonna get this stuff bolted in place. I know that I have all my hardware all over the place. Let me wipe these off. They look crazy, man. So we're finally making progress. So for the longest time, I had everything in order to start the project. The only thing I was missing as far as starting the bottom end was piston rings. This is crazy. I literally waited like, mainly, I would say it was because of being lazy. But I had done so much stuff in like a span of 6 months. Machine work. First off, pulling the engine. And the only thing that really held me back was piston rings. Now, I did have piston rings. I gapped them and everything. Everything was good. But the bore size of my bottom end is 3.898, I think it is. But the piston rings that I had were 3.905. Because those were the only ones I could find at the time. So I was like, you know what? I want these specific types as well, just because I want them to seal properly, or I want the best seal. So I've read some forums that stated that you can go ahead and go a little bit over as far as piston rings go. But then when I installed them, like when I was actually gapping them, it just felt weird. Like they were just, obviously they were too big. But the gap was creating a divot into my cylinder wall, so I didn't want that, man. It was crazy. So I ended up just waiting, and eventually I bought the proper rings, and then that's what pretty much started me to get up on the horse and get this thing done, because it's been sitting around for too long. Quite frankly, I don't want to be one of those guys that starts a project and just says, you know, oh, I'm doing a project, I got a project coming up, and I haven't made any progress. So I want to kind of keep it steady, make steady progress. I know this is not going to be done like super soon, just because, like I said in all my other videos, I have a family and stuff, and they take priority. So this is going to be on the back burner to anything else that I have going on. So I'm going to try to get it done as fast as possible, but if I can't, then it is what it is. So it needs to be on this side over here. So as far as that, everything went together very well. I didn't have any clearance issues with the windage tray and the oil pan. I didn't have any clearance issues with this front plate and my oil pump or my double roller timing chain. So I think it went together very easily. So the next thing that we're going to have done is we're going to kind of go through the heads. We're going to freshen them up. Obviously, with the bigger camshaft, I'm going to have to put different springs on there. So you'll probably see me make some sort of spring compressor so that I can remove the springs overall. And then we'll go through the process of freshening those up, lapping our valves. I'm probably not going to touch anything else. Just kind of clean some things up just to make sure it's good to go. Then we'll install our lifters, head studs. I am doing a rocker arm kit that should be in, or the rocker arm trunnion upgrade that should be in the next video. So stay tuned for that. I mean, that's pretty much the rundown on the rest of this here video. If you like what you've seen, go ahead and like. Hopefully you're already subscribed. If not, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell notification at the bottom. Have a great weekend.